Yo, Nick, Adam, he's here. Today's video is going to be on the cable stripping machine. So I've tried to, we just had a tidy. Adam couldn't deal with the mess I'd made, so cheers mate. Adam had organised everything, sort of, haven't you mate?
Yeah.
Sort of. Well, I don't think we're going to go as far as labelling stuff, but it's getting tidier and it's getting neater. We've still got more stuff to do. Video per video will get better and better. But we are doing the machine. So this is the cable stripping machine that I brought. We've had a test go with it to figure out how it works. So the purpose of today's video is so everyone can sort of learn something. I wanted to put across this video where you lot could go, is it worth investing in something like this? Because I've always wondered if it's worth it. I've never ever stripped my cable. This is all the cable we've got. So we've got normal PVC, we've got loads of SWA, we've got some lead stuff which I won't strip, that's just gonna have to go the way it is. But is it worth spending your time and investing in it, in stripping cable? Is it worth the cost? So today I will hopefully answer that for you. So we've got our scales. I've tried to get as much information together as possible to make it informative so you guys can go, is it worth spending £350 on this machine, or stripping it by hand, or getting other types of strippers? I brought this machine, I brought everything here. This is all mine from cables, from people's houses that we've collected over the past 6 months odd, something like that. So I'll get to it. Today's sponsor of the video is Ideal, and Ideal has sent me some stuff across for you guys. So they've sent me across the Works backpack. Very nice, very deep. I'll just show you in there. There's loads of pockets. We'll run through this properly at the end. We've got open tote, and then we've got 3 bags as well to keep bits and bobs in. I'll run through all the stuff at the end for the giveaway for that, where it will be, run through all the specs of the bags for you, and I'll put a link below to all the Ideal stuff, so thank you very much Ideal. Right, so the machine itself got off Amazon around about 350 quid. I've written some stuff down. So what the plan is, I've got a tub behind me with some scales. We're going to weigh that. We're going to weigh what I've got out here. So we've got a mixture of 1mm, 1.5, 2.5, singles 1mm, 25mm tails, 60mm tails, 10mm twin and earth, maybe a bit of 16mm twin and earth, I don't know. So we'll weigh that, get the comparison. I'll time myself then on how long it takes to strip all of this with Adam's help, and then figure out the cost difference. So per kilo for PVC cable from the tack yard, £1.40 per kilo around this area. For bright copper, so if you don't know what bright copper is when you strip it and it looks bright copper by itself, no connections, no plugs, no nothing, that is £4.50 per kilo. So if I can turn this into bright copper, what I will do is weigh this before, weigh this afterwards of the bright copper and the PVC we've stripped off of it to figure out the weight difference of how much we've removed from it. The time then, but obviously with this, obviously I'm filming this during the day and working hours, it's fine by me. But for you guys, most of the time when you strip stuff is in after hours, weekends, in the evenings, with your kids, with your missus, fellas, whatever. So I wouldn't really take into account time-wise for cost-wise for you guys, because unless you're going to take a day off work, which you might do if you've got a massive tub like I've got here, and you want to strip it all and see if it's worth your while, taking a day off work to strip it, is the comeback from that going to be worthwhile? So hopefully we'll answer that in this. I'm going to do the PVC first, do that measurement, and then we'll come on to the SWA afterwards, because obviously the steel in it, we can also weigh that in. So I'll weigh it before, I'll weigh it after the PVC out sheathing and inner sheathing, and also the armoured itself, and then the copper, and we'll combine a price to see if that's worthwhile as well. Right, so at the scale so far for the Gorilla tub, we're looking at around about 500 grams. So I'll pop this in here and see what it changes to. Right, so that is saying, that's still, smack on 8, so in there will be 7.5 kilos worth of PVC cable, insulation and copper. So now's the fun thing, we'll get this out, we'll set the machine up itself for where it's meant to be. I'll run you through a few things, because we've had a go yesterday, didn't we, of trying to do it a bit, see how it works. So a few adjustments you need to make between cables. It's amazing at tails, it's amazing at armoured, it's amazing at flex and single core cables. Twin and earth, it's a bit hit and miss without changing the adjustments, but I'll show you through that. So tech spec wise, we've got a Gorilla tub there, we're going to put the copper into, no sorry, the PVC. Adam's just weighing the little Gorilla tub that we're going to put the copper into. It's going to be about 250 grams ish. The machine itself, normal 13 amp plug top, big emergency switch, on off. different size cable. So that's a cable flattener. That's for meant to be for 1mm and 1.5mm, 2.5, well, anything for twin, but really I've only found out that 2.5 fits through it. And then gradually up and up and up, it gets higher and higher and higher. If I look at the flap up on this side, you can see through the blades that pinch down. So with that, it's a bit of a fine adjustment. These on top thread down pushes the blades up and down as and when you are stripping. So what I've found as well from doing stuff yesterday is the stuff that I've put in here, I've sort of taken the kinks out. So beforehand, if I'm ever taking cables out of people's houses, I just bunch it up, chuck it in like this. But if this is going to be viable to use from now on, when cables are brought out, I'm going to put them in loops, make sure we take the kinks out. Anything with nails or cable ties or plugs or connector blocks on the end need to be removed, because it will just jam and destroy the stripper. So spend a bit of time with this. We'll start with some of the smaller cables. On top, I think we've got some singles and some 1mm. We'll pull it all out on a pile and we'll start the timer. Okay, I'm going to start stopwatch now. Obviously, it's not going to be completely and 100% accurate because we're going to be stopping and starting filming, but I will leave that there. Got this out, got that out. We're obviously very aware not to put your fingers and feed them into. It's very health and safety. Obviously, it's common sense. So if I turn it on easily with that, so let's start with a simple one of, we do some singles out. So this is just singles with 2 layers of insulation over the top. I'll feed that to Adam. And just turn that off. And then literally. And that's just, is that scored through 1 or 2? Both. So that's scored through the 2. So if you want to do it for the 1, you could just higher the blade up a bit, but that's stripped through that. So
yeah, it's done both. That is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like scored.
Yeah. Well, if not, just rip that off, mate, and run it through again. So to run it through again, all I'm going to do is just turn this once, lower the blade down a little bit, and then I'll stick that back through to Adam. Adam's keeping all the PVC in the buckets.
Getting a big one.
Yeah. Right, so a little close up. So that's how I've just tightened up a little bit more, run it through. Simple as that.
Just pull it all off?
Yeah, so we'll stick it on the side, we'll do all the singles, and then I'll stop every time we run to a different type of cable. Like say, we'll do the singles, then we'll get to 1mm, 1.5, 2.5, and then start doing some meat tails and some earthing as well. Right, also as well, we've just had a bit of a problem where someone's stuck some copper in their hands. So if you put it through and it's not the right distance, it will go through, but it also cut the copper. And obviously the copper is a spiral all the way through, so what it ends up doing is the blade just cuts straight through it and becomes extremely sharp. So be careful. They say wear gloves, but gloves ain't going to stop
and you can't
do it. Needles ain't going to stop a needle point going through. But we're just being a bit more careful as we're passing it through. Like I said, we have had a bit of practice with this, so it's just about fine adjustment. When you adjust it for one cable, you've got to make sure you adjust it back for twin and earth. So I've fed through a lot of the singles and the earth, like this. I'm going to do some thicker stuff in a minute, but we're going to try with the twin in a second. So that's 1mm twin. So what I've ended up doing is we emergency stop button, make sure you turn it off as well. So you can see through, if you lift the flap the other side, you can visibly see the thickness and the depth of where the blade's going to go on the cable. So you can sort of adjust it to suit. Obviously, put the back down, that is there for safety so you don't get your fingers caught in. Turn the socket back on, and away you go. So we fed the first twin, so that has worked that time, because sometimes what happens when it feeds through itself, instead of going flat, if it hits the blade at a certain angle, it actually twists to its side. The blade does run down it, but it ends up running down the side and not exactly the way you want it to. But I just think it is what it is with this machine. I don't think I'm going to get much better than that. We did find, so there you go, that took you what, 10 seconds?
Sorry for that.
Yeah, so we can feed the singles back through, but what I will say is from everything's been perfect to strip except for 1mm and 1.5 have been a bit of an issue. But I have found it's how easy us lot is to strip the outer sheathing, the grey PVC from the outside by hand. You know, just put your foot on it, pull the earth out. Might be quicker doing it that way and then just feed the singles through. Just a thought. Right, so I've just changed the center second. So this is 1.5mm, and it's sat absolutely perfectly and cut exactly where it needs to. So it is hit and miss. I'm not going to say it's the best machine in the world. You say I brought it, no one gave it me. I can say it as in what I want about it, but when it strips it like that, beautiful. So what I would say, if you find the right setting for the right size cable, stick on that cable, get that all through, and then move to your next size up. 10mm, this was 10mm twin. I'd already stripped it out originally. I presume this was at someone's fuse board back in the day. So, rule of thumb, if the cable fits in the hole, it's going to go through that one most of the time. Right, so just so you can see how it splits, I don't want to be rushing the video and not showing you guys how it comes out. So you get it the right thickness and the right distance apart. That is how it should cut the insulation. And then, in theory, it should. Just peel out. Right, so if you get a bit of twin that's got kinks in it, yeah, come forward, dude. Oh. I have the, obviously, scaffold in here, but you can get any tube. So if you want to try and get kinks, imagine like that's now twisted like that. If you get it over a bar and you roll it, that will help you so much more when feeding cables through machines, or even stripping them in general. So to try and get rid of this, to keep it a bit more uniform, a bit easier to strip, put some weight on it, not loads, and just run it around a bit. And then that, straighten the cables up. Right, so far we're on 48 minutes on the clock, which is here. We've done all the twin and earth. We found out a system with the 2.5 was feed it through this one, not the flat one, and it worked a lot better. Oh, here we go, it's my ceiling dripping. Brilliant. Next we're going to go on to the meat tails. So, like I said, I've removed most of this, but there is some cable ties still on this one. So we'll remove that and start feeding them through. So with the armoured, it pretty much strips it straight to the core. You get it on the right hole. Excuse me. Yeah. Try this in, might be a bit easier. Problem is because it's cold in here, the cables are stiff as well.
A lot harder to cut this copper as well, isn't
it? Right, so that's the pile done. That's the pile of scrap. That's the pile of tat. I'm just going to stop my stopwatch on 53 minutes and 22 seconds. So obviously taking into account that it is me and Adam doing it, or some may say Adam and I doing it.
It's me.
It's Adam. Hey, I've been doing stuff. So, you know, you could double that time. Equally, I've been doing it quicker than Adam's doing it. You probably count as half a person.
Oh dear, oh dear.
Oh dear, oh dear. So, what I'll do, I'll leave this to the side. We'll write down 53 minutes. I'm going to get that massive piece of armoured, which is over here. This should be 3/4 16mm, Adam. Yes, it is. So we'll put that on the scales, weigh that, then we'll put this through, and then at the end, do you want to weigh that, mate? Right, so I'm just going to weigh that.
I think it's going to drop off.
Can we take the weight? No, that's it.
Nearly.
That's coming to 9 kg.
Yeah.
Right, so I'll write that down. Okay, so I've written it down. While Adam's stripping that, the price of armoured cable per kilo is £1.60 to my local guy, and steel is 40p per kilo. So that itself, what do we say, 9 kilo? I'm gonna have to get a calculator out. I can't do this on a whim. So that armoured itself should make me, if I take that to the tack yard, apparently £12.60, apparently. It is a thick cable. That's one of the summer houses that we did, wasn't it? That was just an off-cut. Some people may keep it, but if I ever use a 16mm cable, it's going to have to be longer than that, so it's just going to be lying around. I'd rather just, for the sake of the video, get it done. What do you think we should do? Cut it into 3 sections with an angle grinder. That's going to be a bit more manageable, isn't it? Right, start the stopwatch now. Let's get this to go. Adam's got the angle grinder for us. We'll chop this down. I won't time lapse this bit. I'll just run through in a second of feeding it through, then unreeling the arm. Right, so we've got our cuts. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bits. Metering a bit long. Right, they should, because they are cold and thick, be passing through that one. We're probably going to go biggest, because the reason I say that, I think these blades are set for, which is like a single core cable. Obviously this is a 3-core cable. We'll try through the big one, see if it's cut well enough. If not, because we only need to go through the first layer of insulation, unreel the steel itself, and then pass it through again. Right, so there's our armoureds. We're going to sleeve them off. I'm just going to change the battery of my GoPro, it's about to get flat. And what we'll do, we'll cut the steel separately into a bag. We'll weigh that separately as well. PVC into the big tub, and then the copper into the smaller tub. Right, they're all done now. So now we've got a 3-core on our PVC layer across the top. I might be wrong saying it's PVC, but it's got a layer of black insulation on top. Okay. Steel, right, so we're going to do insulation. Steel's going to go in one, copper in the other. So we'll start feeding these through one by one to make sure we get the right hole. Again, excuse me. Chuck them up. Let's look at them, mate. Right, try and do this on camera for you.
It's even gone through the insulation like
on one of the cores.
Yeah, one of the cores. A little.
So normally this should be a bit easier because it's freezing cold and it's -3.
Once you've got to start,
yeah. We all know how much of a pain this is. Just strip anyway. It works. Right, there's our pile of 16mm. Let's make sure we get the right hole again. Excuse me. Never gets old, doesn't it? How's that look?
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
Not sprinted it, just straight out.
Sound right. I won't bore you with time lapses. We'll get these done, get these chopped, and voila. Adam, stop eating Merrylands. Never mind. 25 minutes. 25 minutes to do the armoured. So that's what we got. There's the steel. There's the insulation. There's our insulation for our normal PVC cables, twin and earth, flex, single core cables. Bit of what else was there? What was that? 16, 25mm. Yeah, tails, that sort of stuff. So we've got our times for them. The next thing to do is literally weigh them, do a comparison of what we would have earned compared to what we have earned, and then I can tell you afterwards a little plan that Adam came up with that is going to be in future videos that would incorporate all of this. It's just so cool, but you have to wait till the end of the video. Right, so copper from the PVC cables, the very first one. So looking at that, that is 4.5 kilo, so 4.25.
Yep.
Okay. Right, then the PVC for this is, I did actually buy a digital scale, but it's not delivered with the post yet, so we've got the, right, so that'll be 3.25 minus the tub. Right, so I've just tipped the copper from the PVC cable into the trough. That's some of the stuff that we were stripping yesterday to have a practice. Obviously this has got no handles, so this is all the cables from the armoured, so there's copper. the copper there is smack on 4, so that's 4 kg. Right, so the steel on it comes to 325, so we take the tub off, it's 3 kg for the steel. Right, PVC for the armoured itself. Let's try and get this on. That is coming up. Let's keep it still. Right, mine's the tub is 2.25-ish, so let's have a look what that adds up to. Right, so after a bit of a graft and weighing and measuring and then working out loads of numbers, I really enjoyed it. Adam's enjoyed himself, like it's something different, and I'll obviously explain at the end what we're going to do with the copper. But to put it into context, so let's say we both stripped this, it was an hour stripping, so there's 2 of us, so that's 2 hours. 2 hours worth of stripping time. So the PVC itself, if I had weighed in 7.5 kg, I'll put all the numbers up here as I'm saying. So 7.5 kg of normal PVC household cable, at the local scrapyard I would have got £10.50. Stripped bright copper, which is what we've got, that equals out to £19.12. So you've got a profit of around about £8.70-ish. So going off that, then the armoured cable itself, if I'd have weighed the armoured cable in by itself at 9 kg, I'd have had £14.40. Stripped, weighed the steel separately and the copper separately, you would have made £18. So realistically, you're making £3.60 on that for what was time-wise 25 minutes. So not the best. So we worked out some calculations. So this was around 350 quid. So if you work off the cable itself, so we worked out per hour, you could probably strip about, you would make yourself £4.50 profit per hour on stripping cable if you did it at the same rate we did it. Obviously I'm counting this as one person, not the two. So per hour, £4.50. So to pay for this machine outright, you need to do it. You need to spend 77 hours worth of stripping continuously to pay for this, and that works out to 3.25 days, which is a lot, really. Is it worth it? This is why I've never really gone out and stripped cable, because I can't see, and if there's a massive profit margin in it, 100%, but by the looks of this, £4.50 an hour, which is minimum wage, great for someone to do it as a part-time job if you want someone to come in and strip the cable for you, but then at the same time you make no profit on the cable. You're better off just bagging it up like I've been doing for years and just taking it straight to the dump. I know a lot of people burn it, which isn't good for the environment, and you get less money because it's not bright copper. I really wouldn't recommend that whatsoever. But yeah, recommendation of the machine, fantastic, great. It does exactly what I want it to do. It was expensive, and I'm going to have to put a lot of hours in to make this pay for itself, but once it has paid for itself, everything on top of that is profit. I don't think it'd be taking days off work to strip cable, evenings, weekends, you know. So yeah, I hope it's been helpful. Like, you can see the difference. Is it worth stripping copper? Yes, if you're going to do something else with it, which I'm going to do, and I'll talk about in a minute, but we'll run through the bags for ideal now. Right, the first ideal bag is a rucksack. So as you can see from inside, all the pockets, all the single or dancing stuff on the outside, and it's also got a clip-on, clip-off holster, which I thought was pretty cool. Normal pockets in the front, with sort of hard shell at the front, open up, inside absolutely loads of room for drill bits, pockets, screwdrivers, all that sort of stuff. And then in the back, there's even more space for a laptop, notepad, drill holster in there, tape measure holster, and a deep pocket for other drills and whatnot. Nice padding on the back. Second one's the open tote. You've all seen these before. It comes with a bigger strap, sections that can be removed for screwdrivers, drills, all that sort of stuff. Loads of pockets around the outside. Screwdriver clip, tape measure clip, and stuff for your tape. These are a godsend. We don't know why everyone doesn't have these on. And last but not least, there's a few little pouches for screwdrivers, drill bits. We used them for tape, didn't we? And loads of bits and bobs that you want to carry around with you that ends up floating around in the van. At least you can contain it all. So to do with this, I'll put a picture on my Instagram when this video goes live. To enter it, just tag someone, like the video, and like the video of course, like the post, and also go and follow Ideal on Instagram. Right, last bit of the video, what I'm going to do with all the tack cable. So this is all the tack I've gathered so far, which is a good amount, and I could weigh it in, but what we're going to do instead, Adam gave me the idea, is, I'll turn this way because of the light. Adam's idea was, why don't you make copper ingots. Why don't you make copper bars? So I've actually bought myself a furnace and some gas and some gloves and some molds and everything like that. And what I'm going to be doing is doing a video on turning all this copper here and the steel at some point to make my own, or smelt my own copper and make copper bars that will hopefully be engraved with my logo, and hopefully I can then sell them as merch to you guys as and when I hit different milestones on YouTube, as in 30k, 40k. I'm obviously gonna have to have a practice first and there'll be a lot floating around. So keep your eye out, let me know if you're interested in that sort of stuff, because it's gonna make a cool video. Let me know if you want me to do it on my main channel or my other channel, because it's not really electrical related, but it is playing with copper. So anyway, like the video, thanks very much for watching.
Bye.
Bye.